I was recently attending a Toastmasters meeting at my hometown club in Kelowna, British Columbia, and a member from the past, somebody who was attending about 4 or 5 years ago, came to a new meeting as a guest. And she was blown away by how much the meeting had changed. And it was something I didn't even think about because I'd been continually going to meetings over the years. But she was blown away by the hybrid setup, which was really a result of COVID. Because when COVID happened, we weren't able to meet in person. So we went fully virtual. And then when we came back to in-person meetings, we kept that virtual aspect going because there are some people who preferred to do the Zoom meetings from home. There were some people who were traveling a lot. And so this allowed them to not miss Toastmasters meetings while on the road. And she was impressed, and she should be impressed. Kudos to our Sergeant at Arms who makes this happen each time in terms of the virtual setup. Kudos to your Toastmasters club if you're part of a Toastmasters club that has a hybrid virtual setting. But her comments made me think about the future of public speaking and how things may change going forward. So I thought that would be the perfect opportunity to create this video. First off, if you've never landed on one of my videos before, welcome. I'm glad you're here. My channel is all about public speaking and communication. I want to make you a more impactful communicator, a better public speaker, and these YouTube videos are one of the ways I do that. If that sounds like something that could be beneficial to you, please subscribe to my channel. I promise I'll keep putting out great video content if you keep watching it. When it comes to the future of public speaking, I think the first obvious trend that is here to stay is the concept of virtual meetings. Many companies that never used Zoom prior to 2020 have adapted, and now many companies have regular Zoom meetings, and some companies even put on conferences that are purely virtual, purely Zoom. And whether it's hybrid style, whether they're still in person, I think that this idea of Zoom meetings and virtual conversations is not going away. This is something that's here to stay. So what does that mean for you? I think the first thing to keep in mind is your setup. And if you have the luxury of having a spot at home that is your Zoom meeting setup, and it can be a multi-purpose space. Maybe it's your kitchen table, but you have a nice white background behind you or some art. It's not too cluttered. It's nice to have a setup. And I'm not saying you have to have a fancy camera and a fancy microphone. Those things definitely help, but you can have your regular laptop camera, but make sure that the microphone you're using, you're speaking clearly and loud enough into it. And if possible, have that clear background and try to do the meeting in a place that's not too echoey. Because what we know is that in some environments, when it's just walls and a wooden floor, the voice really bounces and reverberates and echoes, and that can be a less than desirable listening experience for the others who are on the meeting. So do what you can to ensure that your video looks good, that your sound looks good, that you are somewhere in the middle or one of the thirds of the camera frame, that you are clear, that you are visible. These are things that are important. Some mistakes I see from time to time is people have lighting behind them, and then it's hard to see through the camera. They're almost like a silhouette. So that's the first thing, is that the future of public speaking is going to incorporate these virtual meetings. Be mindful what it takes to be a good presenter in a virtual meeting. Another thing that I will mention is when it comes to the camera and eye contact, I'm making eye contact with you right now because I'm looking into the camera lens. And that is one of the differences between traditional public speaking in front of actual people, is that you have to look around the audience to make that eye contact. With virtual, I can look one place and I'm making eye contact with every single person who's watching this video. So be mindful of the camera. If you're speaking, don't always be looking at the other people who are on the Zoom call, because it's going to look like you're looking down. Make eye contact with them as well. Just as my own Toastmasters club has embraced hybrid meetings, I also think that's the future of events and conferences. We've seen this time and time again over the last couple of years, but conferences will probably offer an in-person ticket to attend and also a virtual ticket to attend. What does this mean for you? As the speaker, it may not mean too much, especially if you're not able to see the cameras, but if it's a smaller room that you're talking to and there's a laptop set up and you know people are tuning in on that laptop, it's to acknowledge those people from time to time as well. Because when we're public speaking in front of a group of people in a room, it's very easy to get carried away with those individuals and be talking to them. But if you know there's a computer over here as well, from time to time, go over there, make eye contact with that camera, give a little wave, acknowledge the people on Zoom at the beginning of the meeting, and then carry on with your presentation. So I think that this is going to be another trend that we continue to see going forward, is that pretty much every event will offer not only in person, but also some level of virtual access. The next thing I know about the future of public speaking is that there is no excuse for a lack of preparedness or research, especially considering we have productivity tools at our fingertips like we've never had access to before. Of course, with the internet, we can Google anything in a heartbeat, but now with AI tools like ChatGPT, we can have the most intelligent person or equivalent to the most intelligent person help us think and formulate ideas and come up with different structures or different ideas. Or we can take a speech that we've written and we can put that into ChatGPT and ask it if we're missing anything or how we could make this even better. So with those types of tools at our fingertips, there is absolutely no excuse. We should be continually elevating our craft and being better public speakers. That is one of my predictions for the future of public speaking, is that the best speakers will be even better because they'll incorporate some of this technology to really wow the audience. And speaking of all the advancements in technology, another aspect is that speeches of the future will be even more personalized for audiences. So many people voluntarily put out so much information on social media and online. And I'm not saying to be really creepy and go look at all of the people's information that you're going to be speaking to, but I will say take a bit of time and try to find great relevant examples from some of those people you know might be in the audience. Because if you're going to speak to a company, let's say it's a company and their office has 30 employees, and you do a bit of research beforehand and you're able to showcase in a good light, that's the important thing here, really great examples of what their employees are doing because they've shared that information online and you're showcasing that within your presentation, the audience is going to be so impressed that you've included them, you've made it incredibly relevant for their office, but also that person you're highlighting, especially if it's a positive thing, is going to feel pretty special that they're being called out in a good way for doing a really great job. Beyond that, I think that the future of public speaking could get very interesting in terms of being even more virtual. I talked about virtual meetings being like a basic camera and a Zoom style, but if Facebook has rebranded to Meta, meaning the focus is on the metaverse, that could be really interesting where that goes in the future. There was recently a Lex Friedman interview, for example, with Mark Zuckerberg, and the two of them, it looked like they were in the same room. The facial expressions were so impressive. Lex was asking Mark questions. He couldn't believe that it was like they were there, even though they were thousands of miles away. And that could be our future. Maybe that putting on a virtual headset and feeling like we're in the room with somebody else. And with that in mind, what applies? Still the basic things of public speaking, that eye contact, even if it's just appearing like you're looking at that person, like looking in the camera lens, that applies. Vocal tone and variety, body language, whether it's an avatar of us or it's us as a real person, body language matters. All of the classic public speaking tips and tools and training that you've done will still apply. That's my big prediction, is that in the future, that will all still be incredibly relevant to communicate effectively in whatever medium we're doing so. I know the future can be scary, but I am confident that no matter where we go, that as I just mentioned, the fundamentals of public speaking will remain. And I think it's just going to give us more access to really experience new ideas in an easier way. Going back to the times where you had to go physically in person to attend a conference to get certain knowledge and information, that has been opened. It's wide open now. It's wide open. Anyone can get information from all of these different sources, which really is going to allow us to level up as individuals. So I'm excited. I'm optimistic about the future, and I'm excited for where things are going. I hope this video was fun for you, a bit of a thought and prediction into what the future of public speaking could look like, and some of the tools and things you need to keep in mind in order to succeed in that future. If this video was beneficial, please consider subscribing to my channel. I will continue to try to put out more video content that is helpful for you. Thanks so much for stopping on this video, and I'll catch you on the next one.